Hi again, everyone. Jamie Harnish, Toronto Real Estate Navigator with Bosley Real Estate. In my previous video, I talked specifically to buyers about times of year where I thought it would make the most sense for you to do your most active searching. And it was mostly due to inactivity with other buyers in the market and how you could take advantage of properties that are not being looked at by other people. If you watched that video, I hope that you watched it with a critical eye and a critical ear. And while you're watching, you said to yourself, okay, that's good, but, or what about blank? So today what I'm going to talk about is the 3 limitations that come with doing your most active looking during periods of the year where real estate traditionally is quite quiet. So the first limitation is distressed properties. So in the video before, I talked about how properties during the winter and summer months tend to be on the market a little bit longer than properties that are being sold in the spring and the fall. So regardless of the season, no matter what, the best properties are going to sell relatively quickly, especially in the Toronto market. So those best properties are the ones that are completely empty. The sellers are not home when the buyers are going to look at them. They are staged. They have fresh paint jobs, anything that would make the property aesthetically look very, very pleasing to your average buyer. So the properties that are still around in the summer and the winter months are ones that have been on the market for a long time, and they probably have not been staged. They probably need work, whether it be structurally or whether it be cosmetics. You'll have to go through those properties and really look for the potential of the property and not pay too much attention to the actual state of the property as it is. So the second limitation would be inventory levels. So let's say that you're actively looking in December or January or August, something like that, which I would recommend and suggest. But let's say you've been looking and you've looked at all the properties that are out there, and the ones that have been on the market already and are still kicking around are just not for you for whatever reason. The issue is that during those time periods, the number of new listings that come out would be very, very low compared to spring and fall when many new listings are being brought to the market. So if you look at this chart, you can see that in the winter months, without question, over and over again, is when the inventory, the number of new listings is at its lowest levels throughout the year. And again, in the spring, the highest number of new listings are coming to market without fail. So the likelihood of a new property coming out in January or in August, just as an example, when you're doing your most active looking, is relatively low compared to something like April or May or maybe October. So the third limitation is actually the flexibility with you, the buyer's own situation. So what I mean by that is this. Sometimes a property has been lingering on the market for a long time because there's something that the seller is asking for, let's say outside of price. There's something that the seller is asking for that might not be very cooperative with your average buyer. So let's say they don't actually want to move out until a long time down the road. That's what we call a long closing. So that could be an issue. Another thing is if a property has been on the market for a long time and that seller has actually already bought, then they're going to want to close as fast as possible. So do you as the buyer have the ability to either do that long closing or to be able to kind of move into the property very, very quickly? The other thing that needs to be considered is if it's a property that's kind of in rough shape and it needs some work, are you going to do some renos, and are you going to move in and then start the renos and live through those renos? Or do you have the ability to stay where you are and then have the renos take place while you're not living there yet and then move in once the renos are finished? So flexibility can be a huge limiting factor for some buyers, but it can also be a bonus if you are currently in a very flexible living situation. You're living at home, you have a rental, and you have a great relationship with your landlord, or you just financially have the ability to kind of carry 2 properties at one time. I still maintain that being an active buyer in December, January, July, and August can provide you with some really good opportunities if you're seriously looking to purchase real estate. But it does come with these caveats. These are things that you need to strongly consider before you start doing any kind of serious looking. I want to wish you all a very happy holiday. Have a great holiday season. Spend time with family. Do what's important to you. Have a great start to 2018. This will be my last video for 2017, but I will be back in early 2018 with more videos to try and help educate people who are looking to buy and sell real estate. Thanks for watching. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year.